welcome back to the next normal. Let's continue our discussion today with a very great panel. First of all, let's start from the west to the east. We have Rahul Avasthy from Abbott. Hi, Rahul. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for the invitation, Dario.
You're always very welcome, as you know. Then we have, well, Mark, are you west or east?
I'm in the middle today, New York area.
Okay, then let's put you in the middle. So Mark Benthin from VIIHEALTH. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
And last but not least, Louise Hope. So, I mean, you're at the east. I can't help you with that. How are you, Louise?
That's fine. I'm happy wherever you put me, Dario. That's good.
Great, perfect. So what we will discuss today is a very hot, very interesting topic, very unexplored, if you ask me, which is video personalization and a new commercial model. And my first question leads me to the thing that we see that many HCPs are already on TikTok, on Instagram Reels, Clubhouse, many other platforms. Of course, Clubhouse is not a video platform, but in any case, is Pharma really ready for video engagements? And why Pharma is somehow delaying this communication channel? Most probably because of compliance, of course, but still, I think every problem can be fixed, right? So let's start with you, Louise.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if, as an industry, we're delaying the use of video, but I certainly feel that we maybe don't know how to use it appropriately all of the time. We need to maybe broaden our horizons in terms of our approach to embracing a culture of experimentation and learning and do things differently. And, you know, video and personalized video content to customers, to patients, to whomever is actually going to be something that where we can get the right content to the right person at the right time. But you're right, we're a very heavily regulated industry. And until we've got the joined up working from maybe marketing, medical, regulation, and how all that fits in delivering content in a different way, I think at the moment we're still a little bit scared, but we are pushing the boundaries to move that forward.
Thank you. Mark, let's continue with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're on the cusp, right? It's took a big push of pandemic to get a lot of digital moving forward to omnichannel modular content and things like that. But if we look at video, it's really three big trends that look like they are starting this next wave where Pharma will have the opportunity to adjust and take advantage of all of the systemic improvements in video. So number one would be something like big format video to TikTok style, that ability to be able to, instead of producing in the old era of hour-long video content, big production, how do you make it simple, easy, quick, and bite-sized chunks that in the end will end up fitting the consumer's day as well as the physician's day? So that's, I think, trend number one, that utility, that convenience, be able to get that production as easy as possible, but with a regulatory mindset. So approvability is absolutely. Second trend I would think is this whole notion of omnichannel and modular content, just the acceptance of the machine to be able to run omnichannel where you've got different components for different channels and maybe things you haven't even thought of yet that can be treated in a modular way. And I think the third big trend that we're starting to see is what used to be disruption is now becoming convergence. So new technologies, new widgets, new tactics, new elements. Before, when they came out, they were singular and disruptive. Now it seems that we're going into a new phase where it's not so much about disruption, it's about blending, making it easy, how to tie things together in ways that the environment's already using, but that they can take advantage of that utility, that convenience, and that ease of experience. Where video can really do a good job for patients and physicians alike. So I think those three big trends are happening, and we can't forget about 5G. It's starting, you know, so over the next, 5-10 years, we certainly see that video will take a place across the environment, by hook or by crook, across all of these kinds of channels because of these big trends that are unavoidable.
Well, Mark, after my 2 doses of Pfizer, my 5G is working perfect. This is Rahul. Let's continue with the conversation with you.
Oh, thank you, Dario. And I agree with Louise and Mark. And also, we're on the cusp, but I think we're on the skewed side. I believe things are changing big time. For example, when you try to browse a video, right? You go, we all are used to going to a home, finding a category, entertainment, technology, diving deep into it. But look at Instagram, TikTok, Reels, right? There's no navigation. It's all gone. It's all about swipe and all about personalization. There is no category. You can't go and choose where you want to go. There is no navigation menu. It's all gone. In fact, the way brands are engaging is changing. The key reason a lot of healthcare and pharma can't engage because of advertisement. But TikTok Reels have a huge opportunity of organic content, right? If I have to ask you, which is the last advertisement you remember on Instagram Reels or TikTok? I bet you don't have the answer, right? Because you're not engaging with the ads, but rather you're engaging with the organic content. Somebody bought a car recently, and I asked that person, have you seen the commercial of this car on a TV? And the person said no, right? So it's all about organic content now. But there is a surprisingly rich activity, I think it is happening in the pharma and healthcare space. And I think it's quite substantial. There is a hashtag which I was discovering, which is called, which is all about, finding self-harm or anxiety. It's called self-diagnosis. It actually has more than 13.5 million views. So now hashtags are becoming popular and a lot of brands are latching on it. But I'll come back to your question on why is it getting delayed? I believe there are several reasons for it, right? Number one is TikTok and Instagram Reels. They don't have an open API yet. So traditional social listening is not possible. So it's all about how are you kind of connecting out there. There are still some questions about the brand safety and the impact on teenagers. So as Mark said, we are at the cusp, right? Everything is going right. It's just that we have to work a lot so that, there's more and more engagement starts happening around that. In fact, TikTok does restrict marketing of, the regulation does restrict marketing of some kind of even ads or content, which is targeted to a certain kind of audience, right? On a funny side, right? Pun intended. Imagine how the disclaimers and the important safety information for a pharma or healthcare company will show if there has to be ad or organic content on a TikTok or Instagram video reels, right? So those things have yet to be come out. But there is a very positive side of it. Instead, there is a lot of experimentation happening. There's a lot of new brands coming in. There is a lot of awareness which is possibly coming in. And I think those are some of the biggest things which is changing a lot of stuff. So, as I always say in all my talks, that digital transformation is about irreversible change, right? It's like cut a caterpillar to a butterfly, you cannot go back. I think we are starting at the larvae stage, but it is moving there. So there will be an irreversible change, as Mark said, maybe 5 to 10 years ahead, as more and more technology, 5G, they all catch up. But you know what? It is real, right? The last decade, my parents never thought that they would use a mobile phone, and now they are liking every video on TikTok and Reels. So things are changing.
Which hashtags they prefer? Next question. In what part of omnichannel we can use video engagement? If you can even speak about part of omnichannel, right? So who would like to go first? Maybe Mark, you can start with you.
Sure, and I think we have to separate out the two discussions between physician and patient. They're two different worlds of brand presentation, representation, and two different sets of requirements and technologies, obviously, that will need to be used. And certainly, if we think of the HCP side, we certainly see that there's a real opportunity to bring video to existing channels. So personalized video within an email environment works very well. It can also be seen as being very positive from the physician perspective. They feel that the company is going an extra mile. That helps to differentiate from others that may be out there. It also helps to continue the engagement in channels, even though there might be restrictions in email or changes in email because of iOS 15. Having messages that can be part of that rep experience and be able to scale with the company's commercial model in and blend those channels together. I think that is interesting, and that's certainly available now. We're seeing some good uptick in awareness, acceptance, and we're not actually seeing as many regulatory hurdles as you would imagine pre-pandemic. Pre-pandemic, I would say absolutely there was no interest in going down this road for video in the case of for HCPs in a scale type of way. But now I believe people are much more open to it, and we're seeing that as long as scripts are approved and some level of automated compliance is possible, then the ability to keep walking, step by step down this road is quite possible. So in terms of omnichannel, I think that's part of the convergence. Don't just think of video as something that you record at an event. Think of it as something that can be created in order to introduce that recording, pass a message, and make sure that those on the ground, MSLs and reps, are actually involved. That helps to distribute it, make it easy, make it convenient. And if we look at any kind of industry that has really grown leaps and bounds over the last few years, it has been those that have addressed convenience, whether it's Uber style or food delivery. It's because it's ultimately very convenient, and video is convenient for both physicians and patients. It fits their day. It's short, as long as we remember the TikTok mantra of short and relevant in terms of content and regulated, then I think that kind of baseline bodes well for the next stage of this omnichannel engagement with video.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Mark. Rahul?
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree, Mark, right? It's all about convenience and it has to be there. I think one of the key thing I would say on omnichannel is it has to be always on. It has to be, always active. And the definition of always active is also changing. So it was earlier about that as a brand, you're always active, trying to do patient education, awareness. But what's happening right now is the patients are doing patient awareness also, because of all this new technological advancement and the personalization, specifically, the mantra has kind of shifted. There are patients talking about skincare routines, right? I mean, it's not very, very much on the pharma side, but we can see on the OTC perspective. In fact, I know Buchanix actually created a big hashtag just last Halloween called hashtag Too Sick to Be Sick as a campaign. And that generated 1 billion plus views around it. I personally see there's a lot of hashtags and there's a lot of self-awareness happening around diabetes, lung cancer, Parkinson's disease, and a lot of stuff is happening around that. So omni-channel was all about, is your brand always active on all these channels? But right now with all this organic content, you are activating your patients and patients' caregivers, and they are also, so it's doubling up. Definition of organic is now not just incremental updates, but it's 4x. We are talking 2x and 4x because it's doubling up, because you have a community that you can channel, that you can activate, which is talking on your behalf. And this community is digital first. Of course, a caveat is not everybody is there, though my mom is there on TikTok and Reels, but I would still say that the key audience, if somebody wants to go and do a targeting, is still around 14 to 24. Right, and how many brands will be possibly around there? OTC, yes, but there is a lot of stuff that we possibly have to look around. And the last thing I would say is this is the time to create the perfect ambassadors. It is no more about full page ads. It's no more about formats of ad. It is no more about I am here, but it's also about the real stories, right? It's also about how do you connect and how do you amplify that? Because earlier you can create a piece of content and then put some dollars behind it to amplify it. But now that is not real, right? Now the content is being created outside you, and the amplification is happening outside you. How do you connect and relate with a story is, I think, the key thing. So my one giveaway about this is omnichannel is about always active, and it is not happening incremental. It is now happening 4x because specifically of video, and this will increase every month by month. So I'm excited to be in this space, specifically in healthcare and pharma. While the video is growing up, the opportunities are insanely amazing.
Thank you, Rahul. Louise?
So I think it's fair to say from both Mark and Rahul here that there's a lot of hype around sort of the omnichannel integration of video and more personalized messages to our customers, our audience, to our patients. And, you know, we're constantly looking for that next great addition to our omni-channel mix. And I think if we actually take a step back, we also need to think that video is one of the tactics within that great big mix of omni-channel work that we're doing, whether we're looking at platforms, touch points, new initiatives that are going to take us from being an organization or a corporation that serves patients well to one that actually serves patients in an exceptional way. And video can certainly help to take us closer to that. I do think, being realistically with my marketeer's hat on, that there are challenges to actually getting to where we want to be. Not least, we need to have a bit of a mindset shift as well. And, you know, that's not so much as our product managers, our marketeers and our sales force, but also, you know, managing the board, managing the senior management. Why should we be investing more in our omni-channel tactics? Why should we be looking at content delivery in a different way? And we've heard a lot in the sessions over the last couple of days already about how content is king or queen, as I think someone said yesterday, but also content delivery is King Kong. And that's a quote that I heard, I think, at a Next Normal event over the last year. So we have all this great content, but we've got to deliver it in the right way. And as Mark was saying at the beginning, we are very good at delivering 60 minutes of medical educational content. As an industry, I don't think we're at the sexy TikTok end delivering that 45-second punch. I don't think we're there yet, but yeah, we're well and truly on the way.
Yeah, that's fine. So then let's be even more concrete. And let me ask you, let's start with you, Rahul, how to pilot video engagement on level of patients, but also on level of ACPs.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just add on to what Louise said, because I really echo that point of the content delivery and how healthcare and pharma is very good in doing the 60 minutes. I think if you look at what a medical reps does, right, specifically in the emerging markets, they do go and deliver the content in maybe less than 3 minutes. So we are doing this every day. We just have to acknowledge and recognize how we are doing it, right? Yeah. And that we need to make our content snackable, easy to digest. And coming back to your question, Dario, is that's where the 3P I would give is happening on how this could be used around. One is there's a lot of peer-to-peer education happening between doctors and doctors. So earlier, there was no way that you can listen to what doctors and doctors are talking. And now there is a community and they are talking. Sometimes they are sharing inspirational content. They are sharing entertaining content. Their life in hospital, and it's quite interesting to see. Second one, I would say, is a point of view. There are a lot of opinion leaders, key opinion leaders and amazing HCPs who are trying to sway the opinion of public health with their expert advice. And that is happening. So second P is point of view, and there is a lot of content around this point of view. The third point of view is, I would say, patient education, right? There's a lot of details about procedures, mechanism of action, healthcare in general, a lot of things happening around that. So if you look at this 3P and combined with that snackable way of, doing that organic content, things will evolve. I would add one more twist to it. I'm not sure if you have heard about this amazing app called Clubhouse. It's all about audio now, right? So I agree it will take 5G for us to evolve a bit more on video and video personalization. But as quantum computing, 5G and AI is evolving day by day, I believe there is a huge opportunity also in just the audio space in a different kind of format, not like a podcast, because podcast is still the 60 minute of sometimes boring content. I think podcast is nice, but to find podcast is very boring. Right, so there may be a big opportunity of not just video as a format, but audio as a format possibly popping in, and there is a lot of stuff happening. I know there's Dr. Shah. He's a dermatologist on TikTok and also Reels, and he has millions of people possibly following in. I know there's a doctor called Dr. Sood. He's an anesthesiologist. Sorry, I always never can pronounce that correctly, right? And he does include a lot of tips and tricks, and the question that what happens before those procedures are possibly given to you. There is a very good hashtag called #TikTok baby dog, and this doctor talks all about pregnancy and OB and health information related needs, and they are making this snackable. So going back to the Louise comment on we need to learn. How will we learn? We need to learn from the people who are already doing it, which is, those peer-and-peer communication, because doctors are already making it snackable. They are doing it less than 60 seconds. And our medical reps have been doing this for ages. So we need to try and merge both those. And there's a huge opportunity that possibly could be leveraged. Regulation will play a key part, but we don't have to hide behind the excuse of regulation and try to see that with the right compliance, what other organic, creative, ethical, scientific education we can talk about. Like, for example, mechanism of action, I believe can easily be crunched less than 60 seconds. It doesn't have to be a 60 minutes video, at least for a very rough level understanding, which can spread the patient education. So yeah, I can go on and on, but I'm just too excited on what this space will bring 5 years down the line.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Rahul. Mark.
Yeah, I think you hit on a couple points, Rahul, about how to push it forward, which is we already have there's an infrastructure now and a wave of connectivity within it of this modular content, this omnichannel system. All of those railroad tracks have been laid, the education around them inside the companies, all those elements have been laid. So that will provide a good baseline for moving forward. And I think the core question is, how do you move forward? You do it the way you do with any digital program. You test, experiment, pilot, and continue, but you need to do it from the perspective of not that this will be standing on its own entirely as a wild new capability. It must be integrated with the overall existing ethos of omnichannel inside the company. Wherever stage you're at, whichever modular content type of system, and you should be able to create a pilot scenario that is quite testable quite quickly. And I think that's how we get acceptance. We clear the questions of the regulatory approval within that particular environment and move forward from there. And so it's finding, the right either MSL team for unbranded content or the right clinical trial information opportunity or the right brand team and country that has an interest and say, okay, let's frame this properly within our omnichannel structure and then make it a testable proposition. It's quite quick to see whether it will be effective or not because of all the precepts that have already come before it.
Yeah, and let's not forget as well that we're talking a lot about our customers and patients here. Talking of experimentation and trialing and learning, we can do that in-house as well. We've just launched a sales training program this year, which is very, we couldn't get out to the countries to do face-to-face workshops, so we did video delivery, and it's in short bite-sized chunks, and it's gone down on the whole really well.
Louise? Yeah.
And I think to kind of layer into that, the thought to bring forward with video is not just video, it's the personalization of video. It's not just the video and the sending of something in large format to somebody at the other end. It's also, making sure that the personality of the individual comes through, and that's taking it to the next stage.
Absolutely, fully agree. So, Louise, Rahul, and Mark, really great conversation. We learned a lot about the video engagement. So I think that we could finish this session by doing a TikTok video, or rather not. I'm not a TikTok user. So once again, thanks a lot. take very good care, and see you next year live in Dubrovnik. Sounds like a plan, right?
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Dario.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.